Welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Terry Stiles. In this week's news, a rental ordinance may be coming soon to a community near you, and a body of a woman found by deputies in Oxford Township.
Stay tuned. Learn more about these stories and others. The Oxford News begins right now. The Oxford Village Council is considering an ordinance that would mandate registration and inspection of the residential rental properties in the village. The new regulation would make sure landlords would meet obligations to their tenants by bringing their properties up to safety code and ordinance compliance. A public hearing is scheduled for 6:30 p.m. Tuesday, September 13th in the village chambers. It is an open meeting and all residents are welcome to express their opinion.
If you have trouble getting a cell phone signal out at the ballpark on Seymour Lake Road, there's hope in bringing this area into the 21st century. The Oxford Township Board took a first step in allowing installation of a cell tower on township-owned Seymour Lake Park property. If a contract is signed by Verizon plans to build a communication tower west of the park's tennis court. If agreed, the township will request a 5-year contract containing nearly $16,000 in annual license fees paid to the township. The agreement would also include 4 additional 5-year extensions with a 5% increase each renewal. This drop zone seems to exist from Tan Lake past Sanders Road to Baldwin Road. Fire Chief Pete Schultz has repeated concerns over potential delayed emergency responses due to the absence of a cell tower signal in that area. Director of the Oxford Parks and Recs, Ron Davis, added, "The lack of the signal is also a problem for those using the park." The board voted 6-1 to send the proposal to the Township Planning Commission for further review.
The Village of Oxford Council is making a major attempt to stop a water rate increase. The refusal just may have stayed a new, interesting trend. The council has formed several committees to search for ways to pay for water rate increase fees proposed by Village Manager Joe Young to stabilize expenses and search for alternate methods rather than raising residents' utility bills. Council members Eric Dolan, Tom Kennis, and Sue Bassardit expressed to the board to find creative ways to pay for the negative $200,000 in water fund due to a reduction in residential and commercial water volume usage. Committees will actively search for potential customers to sell the village's excess water to, including water bottling companies and cell phone antenna leases on the water tower valued at $1,300 to $1,800 each per month. In addition, the Village Economic Development Committee will search for potential new businesses to settle in the village.
You may have noticed new banners going up on light poles along Washington and Burdick Streets. Executive Director of the Downtown Development Authority, Joe Frost, said that there are also new holiday banners which will be displayed during the proper season. Frost explained that the new look will improve the village image as progressive and will provide a visual impact for many years to come. And they look great, Joe.
After only 12 months on the job, Ken Laplace was released from any future contracts with Oxford Community Television, OCTV. The Oxford Communications Commission did not give a reason for his release of duties at OCTV, and it's been 4 years since Laplace's departure. Yet recently, Laplace stood before the Oxford Township Board to criticize the station, its practices, and to urge the highest financial contributor of the station to consider privatization of OCTV media services. Laplace's reasoning for privatization was to accuse the studio of using out-of-date equipment, limited programming, poor viewership, and lack of community involvement. Production manager Terry Stiles countered that since Laplace was fired from OCTV, YouTube viewership, which is the only measurable viewing gauge, went from 10,000 viewers to nearly 34,000 in 2015 and nearly 40,000 so far this current year. According to Stiles, 3 years under leadership of station manager William Service, the station has been seen major advancements in technology, creative programming, and quality of on-air production. When Laplace completed his presentation, Township Supervisor William Dunn made it clear he was not in agreement with Mr. Laplace's claims.
After a nearly 2-week search for a 63-year-old Oxford woman, police think they may have located her. On Thursday, during their continued search for Teresa Adams, an Oakland County Sheriff deputy discovered the body of a female in a wooded area in Oxford Township. While police have not speculated this to be the body of 63-year-old Teresa Adams, who walked away from the group home on Hummer Lake Road, they are waiting for confirmation from the Oakland County Medical Examiner. Adams, missing since August, reportedly had been on medications and had gone missing before. She had been known to be found at local area churches in the past. According to the Oakland Press, the body was found near Hummer Lake and Metamora Roads.
Yesterday at about 11 a.m., Deputy Mendocino was on patrol in the area of Hummer Lake Road between Coates and Metamora Road. Noticed the foul odor and investigated further and found a body of a deceased female approximately 40 feet off the road on Hummer Lake Road. The body hasn't been identified yet. Again, it appears to be a body of a female. It has been there for some time, but the Oakland County Medical Examiner's Office is now trying to determine how long that body's been deceased.
And can you walk me through the process of what will happen now as far in terms of forensics or identifying or what they're going to do next?
Well, there's several different methods we can use to obtain a positive identification, and that is our first priority right now. That really determines where the investigation goes from this point. We don't know where to point our investigation until we know exactly who we and what we have that was discovered the other day. When we complete that, then we can work with the medical examiner's office and their purpose is to determine a cause and manner of death, if possible, and a time of death or a time frame of death, if possible.
And this deputy was in the area looking for a missing woman to begin with, correct?
She was on patrol. All of our units have been using their time that they haven't been assigned to calls for service to try to locate a missing woman that was reported that walked away from a group home on Hummer Lake Road on August 5th.
And can you tell me about how many people were involved in the initial search from August 5th till now? Citizens as well as?
All of the deputies assigned to the Oxford substation have been aware of the report of the missing person. We've also used assets from our Marine Division, off-road vehicles and things of that nature. We've used, there have been other people in the community that have stepped up, people that have some knowledge in search and rescue techniques, and just citizens that are aware of the situation that have taken it upon themselves to help locate the missing person.
And you certainly are looking for the community cooperation. You had that, and we want to thank you for the tough job that you guys have to do.
Well, you're welcome, and we enjoy doing our job and serving the public. That's what you all pay us for. We certainly appreciate the help of everybody who had information that provided that to us. Without bringing that information to us, we can't look into it. We can't follow up on those leads, and it would be impossible for us to have the information that we do without those people bringing that information directly to us.
Well, thank you for talking with us today, and enjoy the Tigers game.
Thank you.
In an increased effort to keep Oxford area residents a little safer, the Oxford Township Board approved the purchase of 2 defibrillators to be installed in 2 area Oakland County Sheriff patrol cars. Oakland County Sheriff Sergeant Frank Lenz of the Oxford Township substation explained that on many occasions the officers arrive at the scene before the EMTs, and sometimes the officer is confronted with a cardiac arrest situation. He explained although his officers are trained to use defibrillators with no equipment, they are helpless. Sometimes it's too late. by the time EMTs arrived. The board agreed to purchase 2 units at a total cost of $3,500, and Parks Director Ron Davis told the board he also intended to purchase a couple of defibrillators, suggesting they would be a good idea to have during park events.
That's it for Oxford News this week. If you want to learn more about these stories and others, stop by your local store and pick up a copy of the Oxford Leader newspaper. Or better yet, catch us right here at OCTV Charter Channel 191 or AT&T Channel 99. And I want to say thank you to the Oxford Township Board for their support this week.
And coming up next on OCTV, Oxford Sports with Jamie Hughes, and also catch Oxford School News with John Ochins. And don't forget Auto Talk and Science in the News with Dave Kenny.
I'm Terry Stiles, and this is Oxford News This Week, where we bring your news closer to home.
And I'm Elgin Nichols. Remember, always be kind to your friends and neighbors, and thanks for watching.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication New Scientist. In our first story, fish that were alive during the Age of Enlightenment are still swimming strong. A Greenland shark has lived at least 272 years, making the species the longest-lived vertebrate in the world, smashing the previous record held by a 211-year-old bowhead whale. But it may have been as old as 500 years. We definitely expected sharks to be old, but we didn't expect that it would be the longest-living vertebrate animal, says Julius Nielsen at the University of Copenhagen in Denmark. Living deep in the North Atlantic and the frigid surface waters of the Arctic, Greenland sharks have a stable environment and grow very slowly. But they can reach more than 5 meters in length and are top predators where they live. It was once thought to be impossible to age Greenland sharks. Their skeletons, made of cartilage, lack the calcified growth rings of hard-boned vertebrates. And other fish are made by measuring calcareous bodies that grow in their ears, but this doesn't work for sharks. Nielsen said his colleagues focused on radiation in the shark's eyes. Nuclear bomb tests in the 1950s and 60s blasted radioactive particles into the atmosphere. Those particles entered food webs all over the world and show up in form of radioactive forms of carbon in organisms that live throughout that period. Because Greenland sharks' eye lenses tissues don't change during its lifetime, it preserves the historic radiation. After catching a 2.2-meter shark that showed radiation levels indicating it was born in the 1960s and was about 50 years old, the team calculated how fast the sharks grew. The team estimated that one 5-meter animal was at least 272 years old, but could be more than 500 years old. Another was taken at age, that is, at 260 years old, but could be more than 400 years old. And the female sharks didn't seem to reach breeding age until they're about 150 years old. It's a long wait. Well, in our next story, it's time to set brain experiments free. The first wearable PET scanner can capture the inner workings of your brain while you are moving about. Existing techniques for looking at the deeper regions of our brains require a person to be perfectly still. But the new scanner, which consists of 12 detectors on a ring placed around the head, will enable researchers to study brain behavior in normal life. This could include examining people during the tremors of Parkinson's disease. The team tried the device on 4 people as they spoke and moved around. The resulting images were similar in quality to those from a traditional PET scanner, says Julie Bershimsky-Lewis at West Virginia University in Morganton. No one's ever really been able to study the brain in motion before to this extent, she says. Her team hopes the technique will show how well patients who have had strokes respond to treatments and reveal the brain areas involved in exceptional mental abilities displayed by some autistic savants. Wow. And in China has just launched the world's first quantum communication satellite. The 600-pound spacecraft blasted off from the Junquan Satellite Center in the Gobi Desert. The satellite is both an extreme test of the weird properties of quantum mechanics and a technology testbed for what could be the start of a global unhackable communications network. Officially known as the Quantum Science Satellite, or QUESS, the mission has been renamed Mozi after an ancient Chinese philosopher. A team led by Zhuanwei Pan of the University of Science and Technology of China in Hefei will conduct their experiments with QUESS using photons to test quantum entanglement, in which the quantum properties of 2 particles are linked even when they're separated over a record-breaking 1,200 kilometers. The team will also test quantum key distribution, a form of secure communication in which the laws of quantum mechanics prevent eavesdroppers from snooping in. If successful, they hope to create a communications network. For sure, we will launch more satellites to construct a quantum constellation for global coverage, says Pan. First, Quest must undergo 3 months of testing. If everything is correct, it will be handed to scientists for scientific experiments, said Pan. We have tried our best to make everything correct. Hopefully there will be nothing going wrong. Other groups around the world working on quantum satellites are watching the Chinese mission with interest. We can test many things on the ground, but final validation has to be done in orbit, says Alexander Ling of the Center for Quantum Technologies in Singapore. Everyone working on free space quantum communications is very excited. Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television, and we'll be right back.
Welcome to the Oxford Wildcat School Update. School will be starting before we know it, and our international program is no exception. Earlier this summer, I sat down with Jill Lamond. She's our Director of International Operations. We're expecting about 85 international students this year. I asked Jill if there was anything she would tweak about the program.
Intermingling the students. We've made so many efforts to do that as adults, and I will say the staff here has been very committed to that at the counseling level, at the classroom level, at the administration level. But I really believe, and I know that our leaders in this building believe, that it has to come from the students first. And so this year, that's something personally I want to pay extra attention to, and I've been working with some students who are maybe in Mandarin Chinese classes. One way that we attempted to get the students to lead this charge was to have our international students tutor domestic students in Mandarin courses this year. And that was successful. That was neat. But I don't know that that extended outside of the classroom. And that's really the push that I want to see, and I know we want to see at the high school, our students engaging on their own accord outside of the classroom. And one way we might want to do that is with sports. And that's difficult because athletics and MHSAA right now, our students cannot play, our international students cannot play sports at Oxford. That's not our decision, obviously. But there are other ways that we're going to try and be creative to create the environment by which our students would naturally engage both domestic and international.
Mm-hmm. Do they have, here at Oxford, do they have sports team? What's the word I'm looking for? Where you don't play other schools, where you just play inside
intramural
sports. Yeah.
I know that the athletic director and myself have been discussing that possibility, actually, and after we look over the budget and speak with the board, that may be something that we try to do in the coming years.
That's Jill Lamond, our Director of International Operations. Guy Cocasetta is the new principal of our Crossroads School off Drainer Road. Students there are all assigned by the court for one reason or another. Most live on campus. I asked Guy what he expects the first day of school to be like.
You know, this is not any different than Oxford High School. It's a smaller setting, obviously, fewer students, fewer classrooms, but we mirror the Michigan Merit Curriculum to a T. It is the Michigan Merit Curriculum. So I see the first day of school being just like the first day of school. Once the kids are in this building and they walk into the classroom, it is full throttle. You know, the education's going to come at them quick, and our teachers are going to accommodate and get them through and help them be successful. So I picture the first day of school being like any other school.
They expect there to be around 40 or 50 students at Crossroads next month. Lots of playground upgrades going on around our district this summer. Parents at Lakeville Elementary raised over $10,000. That was matched by another $10,000 from the district. Volunteers gathered to install. Tony Sarkins is our Director of Operations. He talks about that and some of the other backers of the project.
There's a community that's going to be involved. Actually, Parks and Rec is contributing to it too. In fact, I got a list of people that I want to kind of give some acknowledgement to here.
Be my guest.
You know, first off, the way this was set up is the school was going to match for whatever they raised. They were going to match from the school district for the what the parents raised, the parents group raised. So at this particular school, they raised over $10,000. So of course we matched. I was able to get the equipment for the school. I wanted to thank the school board and Tim Throne for making that decision to make this, possible out here. PSC, that is the community group out here that is organizing and setting it up. I want to thank them. We have a playground committee at DA and OES that they're going to be putting in playground projects also, and I want to thank them. Parks and Recs is going to be involved in this. I want to thank Ron Davis. They're donating their Bobcat and auger to help for the install. Birmingham Seal Coat, Ryan Austin is donating concrete for the project. I'd like to thank Miracle Midwest. They are the suppliers of the playground equipment, and Play Safe Services, their install group. They're going to be doing the projects over at DA and for OE.
The Oxford Virtual Academy is finishing up their expansion. I talked with Tony about that too.
Did a build out for OVA. We got another 3,200 square foot, another classroom over at Marketplace, which we're adding to the program.
Yeah, and that should be ready to go pretty soon, I think. I can't wait to see that.
It's starting to wind down. It's starting to wrap up. Yeah, it's really taking shape. They're over there. They should be putting in flooring this week.
That should be ready by the end of the month. That's the Oxford School Update for this week. This is Oxford Community Television, keeping it local.
Back with you in Oxford News this week, and yes, time for Oxford Sports. While athletes from around the globe gathered in Rio for the Olympics, young athletes from across the nation were gathering in Houston, Texas for the 2016 AAU Junior Olympics. That took place July 27 through August 6th. They competed in 17 different events. One such athlete was Sam McMacken of Oxford, who was one of more than 14,000 junior Olympians that competed in the events. Sam took third place in the 800-meter relay with 15 to 16-year-olds. He had a time of 8:15.94 as part of the Oakland Elite Track Club. Again, the team consisted of McMacken of Oxford, Alec Miracle of Brother Rice, Noah First of Waterford Mott, and Parker Raymond of Rochester Adams. The four boys have trained together 3 days a week throughout the summer to prepare for the events that they took place in. As top runners in Oakland County, the boys came together to form what they called the Oakland Elite. Now, sophomores, they are going to return back to their schools, and Sam does believe his track and field experience at the Olympics will definitely help him out when he returns to Oxford High School and the track and field team in the fall. Not only does he participate in track and field, he also participates in other sports in the Oxford High School with wrestling and soccer. Sam says he looks forward to competing in the Junior Olympics next year again, and that Olympics will take place in our backyard right here in Detroit, Michigan. Congratulations to Sam and his endeavors at the Junior Olympics. Due to heavy rain last week, the Bars versus Cars charity softball game had to be rescheduled. The Friday, August 26th game, members of the public are invited to attend. It helps out a great charity. It's the Oakland County Sheriff's deputies who guard the jail taking on the deputies who patrol the roads. That game will take place at Seymour Lake Township Park. Again, that's the 26th. It's an 8 to 10 p.m. contest. Admission there. You can get wristbands, $10. You can also get them at the door. Again, it does benefit the Oakland County Deputy Sheriff's Association Children's Benevolent Fund. Great cause there. And you can catch a great softball match. Again, that's the 26th. Make sure to get out there to the Seymour Lake Park and check that out. Anyways, we urge you also to log on the Oxford Athletics website, oxfordathletics.org. You're going to want to log on there. It tells you everything you need to know if your athlete's participating in sports this coming fall season. Most importantly you got to have a physical. Make sure you have that physical in before anything does take place. They will not let you participate without that physical. It has to be signed by a PA, RN, or a doctor. Again, get your physicals and check it out on their website, oxfordathletics.org. It's all right there at your fingertips on what you need to do if you're going to compete this fall. Our website is always at your fingertips, and it's always there for your convenience. OCCTV.org. Hit the Programs tab, hit the YouTube tab. Either way, anywhere you want to go, you can catch any one of our programs on demand. on your computer, iPad, phone, wherever you choose to watch. Catch the sports on the weekends. We will be broadcasting a complete schedule of sporting events coming up in just a few weeks. Again, that fall schedule is right around the corner. We broadcast them on Saturday and Sunday on our TV channel between 1 and 6. Again, if you missed anything you see here on OCTC TV, check it out at OCCTV.org. That wraps it in sports. Have yourself a great week. Enjoy the rest of the summer, and take care of yourselves, everybody.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication Automotive News. In our first story from Honda, the company's first 5-door Civic hatchback for the U.S. market will go on sale as a 2017 model, Honda said on August 15th. The new Civic joins sedan and coupe models that'll precede the Type R, which Honda has confirmed will also be a hatchback when it goes on sale in 2017. Honda is expected to show a Civic Type R concept at the Paris Auto Show next month, according to several media reports. The Civic hatch rides on the same front-wheel drive platform as its label mates. However, only the turbocharged engine will be available. In LX, EX, and XL trim, the 1.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder will make 174 horsepower and 162 pounds-feet of torque. In the Sport and all-new Sport Touring trim levels, that output gets boosted to 180 horsepower, while torque stays the same thanks to a high-flow center-mounted exhaust. A continuously variable transmission will be available on all models, while a 6-speed manual transmission will be offered on just the LX, EX, and Sport models, but not the EXL and Sport Touring. The Civic hatchback will go on sale this fall, and pricing will be announced closer to that date, although it's not expected to be a big increase over the turbocharged Civic Sedan EXT, which starts at $23,035. And at Mazda, Mazda is updating the Mazda 3 and Mazda 6 with the company's G-vectoring control as standard equipment for 2017. GVC controls engine drive torque to generate deceleration G-forces when the driver begins turning the steering wheel, thereby shifting load to the front wheels. The system also increases front tire grip. G-vectoring control also delivers smoother and more efficient vehicle behavior, Mazda said. The rest of the brand's lineup will receive the feature soon after. When a driver maintains a constant steering angle, GVC immediately recovers engine drive torque, transferring load to the rear wheels to enhance vehicle stability. The series of load transfers draws out more grip from the front and rear tires, enhancing vehicle responsiveness and stability better aligned with the driver's intentions. In addition to a more comfortable ride, Mazda said GVC allows for better handling and greater stability on slippery surfaces. GVC, which is a software control system, does not increase vehicle weight. Mazda is making other changes to the Mazda 6 to give the midsize sedan a more premium feel for the 2017 model year. Nappa leather seats, a steering wheel heater, and rear seat heaters are available on Grand Touring models equipped with the premium package. Weather strip terminals have been molded around the doors to improve sealing between the rear door trims and inner panels. Thicker front glass to block out wind noise also has been added. Grand Touring models will receive laminated front side windows similar to what can be found on the CX-9 Grand Touring and Signature crossovers. For 2017, the Mazda 3 hatchback is receiving a new grille, a new bumper, new wheels, and a steering wheel that was introduced on the 2016 CX-9. Mazda also added dynamic dampers on the rear suspension trailing arms and suspension crossmember to help strengthen, that is, ride quietness. The automaker said the 2017 model is 3 decibels quieter at 25 miles an hour over rough roads because of tighter body gaps and improved sound insulation. The Mazda 6 and Mazda 3 are due to arrive at the U.S. dealerships in September. In our last story, an emerging flexible drive technology called disconnecting all-wheel drive will help automakers balance rising fuel economy demands with consumer desire for less efficient all-wheel drive vehicles, say suppliers who are capitalizing on the trend. The technology, which debuted about 3 years ago, is growing by leaps and bounds in upcoming vehicle applications, supplier executives signaled last week during the J.P. Morgan Auto Conference. Suppliers such as American Axle and Manufacturing Holdings and Dana Holding Corporation are developing the systems for automakers. The technology offers a flexible solution to the conflicted marketplace at the moment. Consumers are lining up for less efficient crossovers and SUVs at a time when automakers must deliver higher fuel economy on the EPA-backed quest for 54.5 miles per gallon fleet averages by the 2025 model year. The systems work most often as front-wheel drive. But all-wheel drive kicks in when the system detects wheel slip such as hard acceleration or slippery conditions. Disconnecting all-wheel drive systems can improve fuel efficiency by as much as 5%, but most uses by automakers so far have achieved an improvement of only 3 to 3.5%, said Brian Lee, Senior Product Advanced Development Engineer at Schaeffler Group USA, a Tier 2 supplier based in Fort Mill, South Carolina. Wow. Well, that's all for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny. As always, may the wind be at your back as you cruise down life's highway. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television, and we'll be right back.